What's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Now, as always, let's get straight into the video. In this video, I'm going to be going over who to hire and at what points when trying to scale from anywhere between 0 to 100k per month. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you the different stages that you should be hiring certain roles. I'm going to be going over 5 roles in total: an editor, an appointment setter, a VA, a CSM, and a closer. And the order is going to go from 0 to 100k. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Nabil. I got kicked out of college at 16, started an Amazon FBA business at 17, scaled it to over $1 million in sales, made 6 figures in profit. While doing that, at 18, I also started an Amazon FBA coaching business, scaled that to multi 6 figures. By 20, I closed down both of those businesses, and then I started a high-ticket coaching program showing people how to start or scale their own coaching business. Now, first things first, who do you need to hire from 0 to 10k per month, right? You've just started your business, you maybe don't have money, you maybe have a 9 to 5, whatever it may be. I'm expecting that you probably are on low funds at the moment. You might have a part-time job. If this doesn't apply to you, feel free to skip to the next step, because the answer is no one. At this point, you don't need anyone but yourself to do all the work. And as bad as it may sound, as long as it may sound, you may think, oh, but I want someone to be doing some of the work for me and so on and so forth. That's exactly what you don't need. You need not only to get to know what work needs to be done by doing it yourself, you need to also get proof of concept of whatever it is you're doing actually works. Now, as you know, I specialize in coaching businesses and course businesses, right? So I'm going to be referring to them. Now, if you run an agency, it applies to you. If you run a consulting business, it applies to you as well. These apply to different types of businesses, mainly online service based. But for these examples, I'll probably be using coaching businesses. So 0 to 10k per month, you need to do everything to get to 10k per month. Because if you can't get to 10k per month on your own, chances are no one's going to be able to help you get there other than yourself. And when I mean that, I mean by hiring someone, right? Like an employee or something. I'm not talking about investing into a program. That's besides the point. What I'm saying is, if you try hire an appointment setter, for example, at £0 per month or 2k per month or whatever it may be, they're not going to make a difference. Because the real reason as to why you're stuck below 10k per month is because you don't know how to get to 10k per month. You don't have the right systems in place in order to get to 10k per month. So that's what you need to work on before bringing someone else on board. You bringing someone else on board doesn't mean you're bringing new knowledge to the table. It just means you're spending more money out of your pocket to get someone to do the things that you were already doing. Because at the end of the day, remember, you're going to have to manage them. You're going to need to tell them what to do and what not to do. And if you don't even know what you need to do or not to do yourself, how are you going to manage someone? So 0 to 10k per month, absolutely no one. Now, that being said, if you do have the funds available, the only exception would be an editor. And that's obviously following the funnel that I provided in the video prior to this, maybe 2 videos prior to this. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it'll be up there, I think, or up there, one of the two. Now, if you don't have an editor, by all means can still be posting content. There's apps out there that do automatic editing for you. An app like Captions, for example. I personally don't recommend going out there and learning how to edit yourself. It's a waste of your time. You're not becoming an editor, you're becoming a business owner. You don't need to know how to edit because it's always going to be outsourced. You don't really need to know the exact technicalities or intricacies on how to edit in order to tell if someone's doing a good job or not. You can just visually tell whether an edit is good or not. You don't really need to micromanage an editor. You just manage them. Whereas with an appointment setter, you actually need to micromanage to tell them what to say, what not to say, what to respond to this, so on and so forth, right? You need to know what you're doing. So there's a difference. Now, 10 to 20k per month, you should definitely have an editor at this point. Because again, you shouldn't be editing yourself. You want to increase the quality of your edits because you've now got the money to do so, and you're trying to scale further than that 20k, 30k, or even 50k per month mark. So 10 to 20k, you want an editor to be able to edit your videos. Still no appointment setter, still no closer, nothing. Just an editor. Because again, you are still making less than 20k per month. That means, depending on the price of your offer, if you're closing high ticket deals, and this is what I'm referring to in this video, you're probably not closing more than 10 clients a month, which is a problem. Meaning it's something to do with your appointment setting efforts, it's something to do with your closing efforts. Something isn't going well, meaning you need to fix it before you go ahead and delegate it to someone else. Again, it could be the fact that you don't really close well. You might be booking in the appointments and know how to actually book calls, but it probably means that you're not closing deals well, right? You're not good at sales. That being said, you actually need to figure out the problem before you go ahead and decide who you need to hire and who you don't. If you're making 10 to 20k per month, and the only reason you're not closing more than 10 clients a month is because you know you're bad at sales on call, you can't hire an appointment setter to book you more calls because it's not going to make the problem any better. You also can't hire a closer because you actually don't know how to manage them because you're not a good closer yourself. So what you need to do is go out there and improve your own closing skills and then be able to scale to then hire an appointment setter and a closer, which I'll get onto in a second. Okay, so that's 10 to 20K, just an editor. 20 to 30K per month now is when you can then bring in an appointment setter. Not only because you probably know how to book appointments consistently because you're obviously making 20 to 30K per month, but also you're going to realize that there's not a lot of time on your hands for you to go all in on appointment setting because now you've got clients to take care of, right? You've got service delivery to do. So while you're also trying to book appointments as well as take sales calls, you're also having to serve those clients that you closed. So it's going to be quite difficult for you to juggle all three at the same time. So it's within your best interest to obviously get an appointment setter on board to take over the appointment setting process. And now you obviously know how to do it, so it makes sense for you to bring one in. Okay, that's 20 to 30K. And now 30 to 50K. Here's how we then go about solving that service delivery problem. Because at the end of the day, we want you to have more time on your hands as a business owner. You don't want to be constrained to the amount of time you can put in, meaning you can't do this and that and whatever you plan to do, right? You're a business owner at the end of the day. There's reasons as to why you started a business. You want time freedom, you want location freedom, you want financial freedom. And the only way you're going to achieve this is by using money to buy yourself back time. And we do that by hiring people. So from 30 to 50K per month, you're going to hire either a CSM, which is a client success manager, or a VA, which is a virtual assistant. Now, why either or? Because a virtual assistant will do different things than a CSM would do. And it's all dependent on the type of service delivery you have in place for your business. Okay, I'll explain what I mean. If it's a very hands-on process from you as the business owner, or in order for the client to get their service delivered, you're going to need a CSM because a client success manager will be very hands-on. Ideally from a first world country like US, UK, Canada, wherever it may be, they're gonna be able to take over all of those things that you were doing for the client, right? Whether you were running their Facebook ads, whether you were showing them how to do this, or you were hopping on one-to-one calls, whatever it may be, or even maybe group coaching calls, whatever it was, you're probably gonna need a CSM for that. However, on the other hand, if it's less hands-on, like a community, or it's just a course and then there's one-to-one support on the side through messaging, you can get a virtual assistant to do that because not really that hands-on. All it is messaging back and forth, answering questions. If a VA doesn't understand what a question means or doesn't know the answer to a particular question, they can come to you, get the answer from you, and then reply to the client with that answer. Pretty self-explanatory. That's what I personally think is the main differences between needing a VA or needing a CSM, okay? Only if it's hands-on do you need a CSM, and the reason why is because you're going to be paying a CSM a lot more. So what you don't want is for you to hire a CSM, pay them for the tasks that a VA could have done. A VA, you can pay them anywhere between like $6 to $10 an hour. And I'm talking a quality VA, right? I don't deal with like $3 an hour VAs. They're not up to standard. With a CSM, you're going to be paying them minimum 2.5, 3K per month to do their job. There's a big difference there. So again, it's dependent on what your service delivery model is. Now, you also need to bear in mind when hiring VA or CSM is, do you have enough proof of concept to delegate these tasks to either of these roles? And what I mean by that is if you've only been running the business for like 2 months, 3 months, and you manage to scale that quick, but your program or your service is a 6-month service, do you even have proof of concept that what you're doing works? Probably not, right? So I'd always recommend gaining proof of concept on whatever you're delivering, whether it's a program, whether it's a course, whether it's a community, that it actually works and it's not going to change drastically in the next 6 months or however long it may be, which you then can delegate to a CSM or VA. Because the last thing you want is for you to delegate something that doesn't work to a VA or CSM, and then let's say you're 2 months in, there's still 4 months to go, you give it to a CSM to do, you don't even know how the next 4 months are going to go because you've never done it before, you haven't gained that proof of concept. If anything goes wrong, you're going to have no idea because the CSM had to do all the work, not you, right? What I did when I started this coaching business in particular, and even my Amazon FBA business, but I want to talk about this one in particular, was I made sure I was there for every single part of the service being delivered until I delivered the whole thing to a bunch of my first clients. To get a proof of concept as to whether or not it's delivering the results that I expect it to deliver and whether it's the most effective and efficient way to deliver it. And it definitely did show me things that I didn't want to be shown, which was it's not the most efficient way, it's not the most effective way, it needs a lot of improvements, and the only way I would have found that out is if I did it myself. If I gave it to a CSM to do, I probably would have noticed way too late when my clients weren't actually getting results, right? Or when I was delivering things in double the time it should have taken, for example, right? Again, I started with one-to-one coaching. Now, if you watch my last videos, you'll know I preach and I live give for the 3Cs concept where you got coaching, community, and course, right? I wouldn't have realized that if I didn't gain a proof of concept in the first place when running my Amazon FBA coaching business, right? Again, all about proof of concept with everything. Appointment setting, make sure you got proof of concept that the way you set appointments is actually working. Closing, make sure you got it. CSM or delivery, make sure you got it. Everything you need proof of concept before you go ahead and delegate it to someone else. Last but not least, we've gone over 30 to 50K per month. That's when you should hire a VA or a CSM. 50K to 100K per month is when you should now consider hiring a closer, but that again is dependent on your business and in particular your pricing structure, your offer, how you sell. And I'll tell you why. Because you might think, oh, I'm making 50K per month. That's a lot of money. I should now hire a closer. But if you've got a 10K offer, that literally only means you're closing 5 people every single month. Now let's assume you've got a good close rate of at least 30%. That means you're closing on average 5 out of like 15 or 17 people. That's what, 4 calls a week? What's a closer gonna do for you for only 4 calls a week, right? They don't need you and you probably don't need them either, or vice versa. You don't need them and they probably don't need you either. A closer needs abundance, right? They need to take a lot of sales calls. That's how they make money, right? Commission based. Unless you're paying them up front for every single sales call, they're not gonna make as much as they want to be making. Again, it's all dependent on how much your offer is. So let's say you've got a 2K offer, or let's say a 2.5K offer, just to make the maths easier, and you're making 50K per month. That means you're closing 20 clients every single month. If we say you've got like a 30% close rate, or again, for math's sake, let's make it easier. Let's say you've got a 20% close rate. That means you're taking 100 calls every single month and closing 20 of them. That means you're taking 25 calls every single week. That's way too much for you to handle at this point in time where you're closing 20 clients every single month. You've obviously got service delivery to handle. You've got a team to manage and so on and so forth. That's a lot for you to do, okay? So that's where you can then justify, okay, I need a closer on board to take over my sales calls, okay? It's all dependent on the numbers. Now, that being said, on the contrary, if you're making 50K per month and you've actually got, again, a 10K offer, but you're closing 5 out of, I don't know, 100 calls, which is a 5% close rate, you've got a problem with the way you close. You don't know how to close for shit, right? You're either going to need to go out there and get sales training for yourself, which I personally wouldn't recommend at that point because you've gotten too far, or you actually need to get an experienced closer on board to do the work for you, and you're going to see some exponential growth, because if you're only closing 5% of the amount of calls you're getting, you've been doing something wrong the whole time, and you could be at $250,000 per month at that point, right? You could literally 5x the amount of sales you're making if you knew how to sell. Okay, but yeah, that being said, if you've got any questions regarding what I've said in this video, let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe if you find this relevant to you and you want the YouTube algorithm to show you more of this. Now, one thing I've been meaning to say in my videos is I personally would recommend you to watch them on like 1.5x speed or 1.25x speed. Again, time is one of our most precious assets. So why waste time? Again, if you're watching other videos other than this, why waste time watching so many videos on normal speed when you can speed up the process? I'm pretty sure you're here to learn. So if you're here to learn, try speed up the learning process by watching videos faster, okay? You're gonna get a lot done. Because I remember when I was in your position, watching educational videos, trying to gain as much knowledge as possible. And the best thing that helped me is when I got used to speeding up videos, up to a point where I was speeding up videos 2x. And you might find it hard to understand at first, but it's a skill you need to learn. And again, you're gonna be able to learn faster and you're gonna be able to retain information a lot better as well, okay? It's gonna get to a point where you find normal speaking very, very slow. But again, it's for your own benefit. But yeah, that being said, that's the end of this video. See you in the next one. Take care.